Hello, 7th graders. Let's get started on our winter break packet. Let's begin with our proportional relationships section. We'll start with number 1 on unit rate. Go to number 1 in your packet, please. So it says, Gretchen is making homemade soup that requires 2/3 a cup of broth for every 4 2/3 ounces of chopped chicken. I want to know how many ounces of chicken are required per cup of broth. Remember, when we're looking at these unit rate problems, it's really important to pay attention to the order. So here it says how many ounces of chicken are required per cup of broth. So what we're looking for is ounces of chicken divided by cups of broth, or ounces of chicken in my numerator, and cups of broth in my denominator. These labels are really important for your organization of your work. So I know that my ounces of chicken go in my numerator, which is 4 2/3. 4 2/3 ounces of chicken over 2/3 a cup of broth. So 2/3 a cup of broth. All right. So what I'm going to do with this is just turn it into a division sentence. I'll set this up as 4 2/3 divided by 2/3. Remember, we do our numerator divided by our denominator. I want to look at that first number as an improper fraction. So I'm going to convert that 4 2/3 into an improper. So I'm going to look at 14/3 instead of 4 2/3 divided by 2/3. And remember, we can multiply by the reciprocal instead of dividing. So I'm going to change this to 14/3 times 3/2. One thing you could do here is multiply straight across and then scale down at the end. I prefer to do a little bit of simplifying in the beginning. So instead of looking at this 14 on the top left and the 2 in the bottom right, I'm going to think of that 14 over 2 as 7 over 1. Same applies to the other pair. So I have a 3 in the top right and a 3 in the bottom right. Those cancel out. 3 divided by 3 is really just a 1. So now when I multiply straight across, I get a 7. And remember, I want to label this. So it's 7 ounces of chicken per cup of broth. All right, so that's it for the top half. 7 ounces of chicken per cup of broth. Remember, we're paying attention to order there. In the next part, it says what fraction of a cup of broth is required for each ounce of chopped chicken. You'll notice here the order switched. I have cups of broth per ounce of chicken here. So in this case, I'm looking at my cups of broth in my numerator and my ounces of chicken in my denominator. I'm going to go back to the beginning. I have 2/3 cups of broth, and I have 4 2/3 ounces of chicken. And I'm just going to basically divide this the other way. I know I'm doing 2/3 divided by 4 2/3, or I know that number is 14/3. I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal of 14/3, so I change this to 2/3 times 3/14. Same applies to this one. I can cross out these 3's, make them each a 1. And I can cross out the 2 over 14 and make this a 1 over 7. I'm just looking at a little bit of a cross simplification there. When I multiply straight across, I get 1/7. And in this case, I'm doing, this is 1/7 a cup of broth per, or for each, ounce of chopped chicken. All right, and that's all for my first problem. Make sure you have all of this written in your packet. Make sure you understand it. Go back and watch this video from the beginning if you don't understand. At this time, what you guys should do is go ahead and move on to the rest of the problems in this section. You should pause the video at this time. Make sure you're showing all of your work on the next few questions. As you come back to this, you'll be able to watch the rest of the answers we put up on these slides. but there won't be any work. So make sure you're showing your own work. Remember, it will be graded. All right, so pause the video now. All right, here come the answers. For number 2, you should have gotten 4 6/7 cups of water per cup of strawberries. If you didn't get that, check your order. Make sure you divided cups of water by cups of strawberries. The cups of water should have been in your numerator. For number 3, you should have gotten 8 ounces of mozzarella per cup of sauce. Same thing, if you couldn't get that, make sure you divide it in the correct order. Ounces of mozzarella divided by cups of sauce. In the last one, we had to find 2 unit rates. We find that Cynthia rides at a faster rate. Cynthia's rate was 6 3/5 miles per hour. That was faster than Alexa's rate of 5 1/4 mile per hour. All right, at this time, you're done with your unit rate section. Get ready for the next video.